On 9/11, thousands of people went to work in the World Trade Center towers and fully expected to go home for dinner. The act of terrorists changed everything for them and the entire country. But that's how terrorism and other unnatural acts like robbery, assault, and murder are. You never see them coming. At 9:01 a.m. on Wednesday, April 19th, 1995, Roy Sells was doing what he usually did, having coffee with a buddy in Oklahoma City. At 9:02, the building shook. He thought it was an earthquake. A waitress told him otherwise.
You know what that was, that noise? And I said, well, no, what was it? She said, the federal courthouse blew up. I said, you gotta be kidding. She said, no, it's on TV in the office. So another gentleman that was sitting beside me, we got it and went in the office to see, because I knew Lee didn't work in the federal courthouse because she worked right next door in the federal building, which was just north of the courthouse. And so I thought, well, I'm gonna go look at it, see what it looked like. And I went in there and, was just watching TV, and one of the helicopter news agency helicopters here, local channel helicopters, flew over and was sitting there taking a picture. And I looked at that and I said, that's not the federal courthouse. I said, that's a federal building. And I said, well, I've just got to go down there. And Wendell McGraw, the guy that was with me, he said, well, I'll take you down there. And we just jumped in his car and took off as fast as we could go,
His wife, Lee, worked for the Office of Housing and Urban Development on the 8th floor. As his friend drove him toward downtown, Roy was praying that it was a natural disaster.
I told Mr. McGraw when he was taking me down there right away, I said, I hope this is a natural disaster, because I don't want to, I know if something happens to Lee, I don't want to hate people the rest of my life. And I said, that would be a terrible thing to do.
When they arrived downtown, the police turned them back, and Roy was told to go someplace where his wife could get in touch with him. He returned home and waited.
I'm still sitting here by the telephone, hoping and praying and just asking some miracle, I don't know how, that she's still there and we'll find her alive. Well, when the phone rings, it gives you a rush because you're hoping for something. And then you hope that it's not bad news. You hope it's a good news. And then you hope it's just any news at all, because I want it to be just what I want to hear. I just want it to be, yeah, we found her, she's going to be at a hospital or something. I want it to be that news.
When this interview was shot, Roy had been waiting for a week. A whole week. Think about that. He watched television constantly. He held his breath with every ring of the phone. He considered that maybe God had made a mistake.
I guess I've told everybody that I said maybe God only made one mistake when he thought I was that strong, because he said he wouldn't give you a stronger load than you could carry. But I said I may not be that strong, because I have a lot of hate. I get so mad that it's pathetic. I don't know if I've told you how strong my faith is or not, which I probably haven't, but I don't know how strong my faith is. I don't guess I've got to the end of it yet, but boy, it's hanging on a thin string, I think. I don't know.
Every day across America, family members are told the bad news of the injury or death of a loved one. They arrive at emergency rooms and are either met by doctors or chaplains. They are told the condition is critical, or that they did everything they could. For Roy, it was like time was standing still.
It sounds hard to say it, but I said, you know, I've got to move out of this mode. I need to move to a different mode. I know that wherever Lee is, that she's taken care of, you know. If she's with God, she's taken care of. And if she's still alive, she's strong enough, she'll hammer through this and we'll get it together. But haven't lost, you know, I haven't lost that little string of faith or hope that she's still there. And that's, I don't know what else I can tell you. We're just holding on, and these days are getting longer, and they seem to be a month long every night. And it's just really hard to sit here and wait on this telephone to ring. I don't really know what's going to happen. I don't know. I don't think I'll lose. It's not God's fault that she got killed. You know, I'm not mad at God, or I'm not mad at church. I'm just mad that she's not here with me, I guess. I'm mad at the people that did this to her. I don't know when I'll get over that, or if I'll ever get over it. I don't know.
Lee's body was found 3 days after this interview was shot. Hers was the next to last body found. Her office was directly above the Ryder truck that McVeigh left in front of the building. Timothy McVeigh was executed for his role in the Oklahoma City bombing. Recently, the Men's Network had a chance to talk with Roy. In the 15-plus years since the bombing, the Lord has given him a new wife and helped him move on and put his life back together again. But it's been, and still is, a struggle for Roy. We asked him, "Have you forgiven Timothy McVeigh?" After a long pause, all he could say was, "I'm still working on that." You can prepare for a natural disaster with flashlights, fresh water, prepared food, and first aid kits. But, I mean, how can you prepare for an unnatural disaster? You can't. It always takes you by surprise. But even though you may not have seen it coming, God knew it was. Of course, that truth raises questions of its own. If God knew it was coming, why didn't he stop it? Many times he does. You can probably remember some close calls in your life, times when God stepped in or his angels and protected you from the unnatural disasters. We've certainly heard cases of terrorists planting powerful bombs in cars and SUVs and trucks, or strapping them to their own bodies, and then those weapons malfunctioning and failing to detonate. But what about those times when God does not thwart their plans? What about those times he allows us to be victims of unnatural disasters? Again, God says, "My ways are not your ways, and my thoughts are not your thoughts." But don't take that to mean God doesn't care or doesn't understand what it's like to be a victim of a man-made disaster. Jesus was the Son of God, the Lord of all creation, who became human and lived among us. He went around doing tremendous good for those who were battered and hurting. The rulers of his own people conspired to murder him, and their unnatural plot led him to horrible death by crucifixion. Jesus knows precisely what it is to be a victim. Yet on that cross, he prayed, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. To win that forgiveness, Jesus willingly received God's punishment in our place. Through Jesus' power, we can face the unnatural disasters brought upon us by others and find room in our hearts to forgive them. Let's go to the discussion guide and talk about our experiences with unnatural disasters and learn how we can forgive those who trespass against us.